Hi, I'm Laura Pelly and this is the fourth video in my little foundational series where I'm looking at the technique in execution of the exercises to get the best results, to make them a bit more effective and efficient, whatever you're doing, whether you're doing Pilates or something else. And this morning I want to look at the chest lift, a very simple chest lift or sit up, where you're lying on the ground and you lift up your head and shoulders. So I'll show you how I like to do it for the best results for me. Okay, so we'll lie down with feet in line with the sit bones, and we'll start with the arms long against I'll take my arms out to the side so you can see my back. I probably haven't worn the best outfit actually for you to see my spine. Right, I'm going to tip my shirt up a bit. Okay, so you want a neutral spine to begin with. So if you gently rock your pelvis backwards and forwards to feel its mobility at the bottom, so gently flattening your back by tipping the pelvis and making the back flat. So if you had a grape underneath your back, you would squish the grape, that's in imprint, and then put it back to neutral. Not overextending where you've got a massive arch, but just the small of your back, there's a little space. And if you had a hot cup of tea on your pelvis, you would not spill it. It's nice and flat here. Try and relax this muscle here in your hip flexors, not grip them. That takes practice and it's something just to think about, okay? So we'll bring the hands behind the head and we'll have the neutral position. So there's a little space for the grape. Take a breath in, and without changing the shape of your pelvis or squishing your grape, lift your head and shoulders and send your ribs down to your hips. So what happens here is to get higher, you would pull your pelvis towards you. But I don't want to do that in this case. Just want to lift up on the exhale, sliding the ribs down to the hips, keeping that pelvis nice and flat. And back down, and you lift. So you might not get the height, keeping these reasonably relaxed, mine are a bit on, keeping the shoulders, the elbows in your periphery so you're not jammed back and the head isn't doing the work. The head is lightly cradled in the neck and you curl the sternum, more of a deepness to it rather than a big height. So you're curling almost forward as you come up. So you can feel that even though you're not maybe coming this kind of action, you can still feel there's a richness in that movement as you slide your abdominals have to stay engaged to keep your pelvis in this position as well. So as well as lifting up your head and shoulders, the whole of the area, you're putting the abdominals down, they're engaged, the pelvic floor is lifted, and you've got this beautiful, smooth, safe, the ribs are pushing into the mat, and as a result, the head and shoulders come up like a seesaw. And we'll do just it without talking, we'll just do 5 more. Inevitably I've lost count. We'll say that's and lengthen back down to the mat. Now we'll change that and we will bring that pelvis into it, that tipping and flattening on the back. So, but in order, in good time. Okay, take a breath in and relax, prepare. This time we're going to come up on the inhale. So take a breath in, lift your head and shoulders with the neutral pelvis. Then exhale, flatten the back into the mat, get a tiny bit deeper with the upper body. So now you're making a U shape. Put the pelvis back without dropping the chest, and then lower back down. So it's 4 counts. We've got an inhale coming up in neutral. Then flatten the back, sort of engage your bottom, lift your chest a little higher so you shape the U. Put the pelvis back to neutral, head and shoulders come down. Does that make sense? So we're inhaling up, exhaling, we're increasing the curve, the U shape. Put the pelvis back. So now you've got your great back and then down. And you'll find that
even just a few of those, super intense. In fact, sorry, inhale, exhale, pelvis goes back, and so when you increase the curve, your bottom is engaged a little bit, but you're making the pelvis, you're using the abdominals to make that U shape. Put the pelvis back and down. Okay, so now we're going to bring a twist into that. So lift up your head and shoulders. There's a neutral in your pelvis. Then in front and flatten your spine, and then twist your armpits to your knee and place that down. And then we're not going to go all the way down. And let your folding and napkin with your oblique muscles. So they're not coming all the way in, you're not going all the way down. The pelvis is now flat on the mat. It doesn't have to be, but that's just up there. Ooh, that's difficult already. Lovely sort of really rich abdominal work there. And then you can carry on with this. And then lie down, back, down on the mat. I want to take the legs up into tabletop, so flatten the spine. So now your back is flat on the mat. Bring the first leg and then the second leg into the tabletop. Take the legs up to the air, heels together, toes apart. Take a breath in, breathe out, lift your head and shoulders. So now the ribs press into the lower mat and your head and shoulders float up. And now take your legs down to a point of control where you can feel controlled in the abdominals and safe in the lower back. And then take them up. So you might be able to get them down quite far, but you don't want this back to change shape, so you're arching. Your back and your ribs are staying stable as you bring the legs back up. And reach them long. And pull back. And reach them long. And pull back. And if the distance you can get is a short distance, that's fine. And then you'll just work on the abdominals to get them down and back up. And there we go. Some nice, rich technique to employ to get the best out of your abdominals, and then doing that little set of 3 or 4 that we did then, 4 exercises, should, it's a nice little set to do. Okay, thank you, bye.